do to shore up the run defense? What did you see on the film where you need to improve?
We miss fits. We still get up. It's funny. It's like I said to you guys last week. There's a difference between giving up a lot of yards and being efficient. I mean, we'll go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 plays in a row where they're really good, and then give up enormous plays. I mean, you can't give up 270-plus yard runs and expect your run defensive statistics to look good. We did what we had to do to win the game. We need to fit things up better. We need to tackle better. And like I said, when the ball gets, there's 3 levels of defense. The first level, which is D linemen. If a ball makes 3 or 4 yards, the only people that know, right away are the coaches and the kids' parents. The second level of defense is the linebackers. If they miss a tackle, there's supposed to be a safety or corner to back them up. And what's happening right now is our guys on the third level, the corners aren't leveraging the ball, keeping it in front and inside, and our safeties aren't, getting the ball carried to the ground, and that's where your big plays come from. So we have to improve that.
Why were you better in the red zone? Why were you better in the red zone?
Why were we?
Mm-hmm. What were you doing?
Nothing really. I mean, I don't know that we were better or worse. We just did a really good job the other day in the red zone. I thought a couple of the keys in the game, there were 2 keys. I thought in the first half, when Corey Vereen made the tackle for loss on 3rd and goal from the 1 and made him kick a field goal, I thought that was a huge point in the game because it was still at that point, pretty much back and forth game. And in the second half, obviously Stephen Griffin, again, another example of a guy who hasn't played a lot but stepping up in a critical moment in the game, putting his hat on the ball and creating a fumble and getting the ball back. I think our offense went right down and scored. And it's funny you're talking about yardage and things like that. I mean, that made it, I think, that was 36-16 at the time or 35-16. And, we're a funny group, man. I can't put a finger on it as a unit sometimes. I think we need to be backs against the wall, everything on the line for us to play at our best, because those last 10 minutes, we got up over 200 yards in the last 8 minutes of the game. I mean, so everybody's going to say yards, stats, this, that, but, we got, if you look at it, Steven made that play, then we got a 3-and-out, Mike Abernathy makes a big play on a short pass, and then Josh Smith fumbles the punt, and we get another 3-and-out and make them punt, and then we go down and score there, and that's when the ball game really kind of, I thought that the ball game is no longer in doubt. It was just a matter now of what the final score is going to be. And our guys just need to have that killer instinct. We need to be able to finish games. It was like that against Virginia Tech, and it was like that, this week. And those things absolutely drive me batty.
Coach, you may have answered it, but is that second level you were talking about in the first half the most concerning right now, the linebackers?
I think they need to play better than they played Saturday. Yes. I mean, concerning? No. I mean, I don't get concerned about things like that. I mean, the guys that are playing are the guys that are playing, and we got to make the corrections, and we'll do that today in the meeting, and we got to get them ready to play Missouri. I think Bill Belichick always says, past performance or last week's game has very little to do with this week's result. And so we'll make the corrections from last week's game. We'll put in a game plan that we think best defends Missouri, and we'll put the players on the field that are best prepared to play against these guys. Yeah, I think if you talk to DK, I think if you talk to Colton, I think if you talk to Cortez, and I think if you talk to Elliott, they'd all say that they need to play a little bit better than they did the other day, and they will. Now, let me say this: you guys all came at me last week. We talked about the Wildcat. They had 14 snaps of Wildcat for a total of 24 yards. So, we really made a focal point and focused. We focused on that significantly last week. We did a really good job against the Wildcat package, I thought.
What's the challenges with defending the edge? You mentioned the corners. What else? Is it just simply the corners not turning it back? What do you got to do to limit some of the wide run stuff that seems to be giving you guys some troubles from time to time?
We got to. There's. In defending defense, you have to set a firm edge. I think we need to do a better job. We've talked about being more physical with regard to our block destruction and things along those lines. I think guys are. It's funny. I said fitting up prior to this, but a lot of plays are fit up correctly, but we're not physical enough at the point of attack. We're not physical enough setting an edge. Coach, I turned it inside. Yeah, you turned it inside 5 yards down the field. You turned it inside next to the sideline. We need to be firmer, and we need to be more physical with regard to things like that.
What do you see out of Missouri? Obviously, last game's behind you. What do you see out of this Missouri offense that it is maybe the most difficult or concerns you the most?
Yeah, if you have a number that's divisible of 3, you're pretty good. 3, 6, 9, and 12 are all really good players. The quarterback is probably the most complete player. Hey, I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks we've faced. They use splits to their advantage. They spread you across 53 yards of field for sure. 6 and 9 out on the outside are really good receivers. 12 in the slots are really good receiver. They're all fast. They all catch the ball well. Everything they do is what's termed an RPO. Within the framework of the single snap, they can run the ball or throw a hitch to the backside, a smoke screen to the front side, a glance down the field, and they execute really, really well. they're a very, very good offense. Their numbers demonstrate that.
Bob, you said a couple weeks ago with South Carolina that Darren was a little bit rusty in that game. What did you see from Cam in his first game back? And
He was pretty good, man. I mean, I'd say the same thing. I mean, he again, we talk about setting the edge. I thought there were a couple times he needs to be better and more involved in the run piece. The one play that was a reviewed play where they turned an incompletion into a completion down the field. It's not that he cut a guy loose, but he's in two-man and didn't finish the play appropriately. That's the play TK got hurt on. And then, but he did have 2 pass breakups, and it was great to see him back out there. And we're 1-0 with him back in the lineup, and he's going to have a real challenge ahead of him this week against Missouri.
You talked about your